everybody. Looking at some comments here, and there are a staggering 10 people as for now in this live show, where we celebrate my 1,000 subscriber milestone. And we have actually blew past that with a bit. I have, as for now, 1,190 subscribers, and I'm in a bit of a shocker. But this will be fun. Yes, Lucky. I am live. Now, let's begin with, I'm not used to this. I'm used to being a guest on a stream, not the host. So I think I will introduce you to someone you might know a little bit better. Hi,
hello,
Ian.
hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Actually, it just occurred to me, I grabbed the wrong drink. I grabbed myself a beer. I should just pop out for 1 second and grab myself a more fitting celebration drink for this. Give me 1 second. I'll just leave the camera running here, and Pup might pop in and make an appearance as well. Zora is missing mom, so she's hanging out with me quite a bit.
Okay, see you in a bit. Well, while Ian is grabbing a more suitable drink, I'm not sure if it is hot sauce, malort, or a mix of the two. Then this could be a really interesting stream. For you in the chat, how is the sound? If you can, it's a hair off. Hair off. Well, and not to be rude to Ian, but I think I'm winning. This seems wrong somehow.
There we go. Now I've got my akavit.
Well, I have Swedish Scotch. So, yeah.
Cheers.
So, cheers. I was joking about you having a more suitable drink, and I was speculating if it was hot sauce or malort or
no
a
malort.
mix of the two.
Oh, mixing the two would be terrible. No, I just figured some Linja Akavit would be the way to go for this. It's, kind of my go-to for celebrations sometimes.
That's a really nice one. Akavit, we here in Sweden we drink twice per year. No, 3 times. It's 4 times. More or less every big celebration like Midsummer's, New Year's, Christmas, Easter, and when we feel like it, might be more than 2 times.
My grandmother used to break out the akavit around sort of Christmas and New Year's, and so that that's where I got into that particular tradition.
Okay, nice. Let's see here. Leonard Amber, Diet Coke in Bremerton, Washington. That should be close to Alyta, or no, she's moved now. Washington is close to Virginia, right?
I think
I have no idea.
Like DC, yes. Washington State, no.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the U.S. is super confusing about that kind of thing because why make it easy?
Kim Farnham, Runkle has a drink for every occasion.
I mean, if we're talking about a Scandinavian celebration, I feel like akavit is really a good one for that.
Yeah, Yeah, it really is. Iris, congratulations on 1,000. Thank you very much. Now, as you might have noticed, I don't have super chats because I'm not monetized yet. I have
we'll get that fixed soon.
I have 1,000 subscribers. Now I'm lacking 3,000 watch hours. I'm just over 1,000 watch hours so far.
That's often the tough part of that, is getting the watch hours in.
Yeah, so right now I'm hoping that a few live streams might cover that. And if I somehow manage to get Emily on, I think that could.
I will see if I can sort of try to lure people. I'm not sure because a lot of people are super busy, but
yeah, I have sent out a few invites. Chandler Remington will pop in a bit later. You are already here. Maybe Law of Self-Defense, maybe later. But I've sent to Larry, Steph, Rob, Nate, Nick Ricada, Aussie Overlord, a bunch of people. So we will see if they can show up during this. Now, did you see Legal Voices and me on his stream a few days ago? If it was Friday morning?
I didn't.
You didn't? So... No, we had a bit of... well, let's just look at it because I think this...
Is this going to be something?
Because it is St. Patrick's Day, we've got a bottle of Bushmills. This was full about an hour ago, so that tells you what's going to happen tonight. And we haven't popped the seal on the Redbreast 12-year yet. We'll have to find a reason for doing that.
Oh,
all right. That takes care of the obligatory. Like I said, I'm 25% Irish. My father's family is Irish Scottish. Scottish English. My mother is her mother is Lithuanian and her father is Irish. So I'm 25% Irish. But today is St. Patrick's Day, so I'm 100% Irish. And there we go. So we've got everything. We are full Irish tonight, and we're also pickled herring Swedish.
Now I'm sitting here wanting some pickled herring.
I managed to find the only thing green in my closet, and it's not the Hulk. It is simply what I wear when I'm driving the combined harvester. And yeah.
Why do you drive the combine harvester in like April?
Well, I use it when I do it. I'm not doing it now. This is the only green I have, and the only connection I have with the Irish is probably my ancestors went over there to say hi.
Rape and pillage. To say hi.
Yeah, but
the Vikings went over to Ireland to say hi.
Hi! Get down! No.
Hi, and we also have swords.
The Vikings went to Ireland to say hi. Hello.
That's a fancy religion you have there.
You're correct.
Let's destroy it.
And we're not doing a recap today because literally nothing happened yesterday, by the way, in case you were wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing happened yesterday. It was a very normal day in court. The Vikings went to Ireland just to say hi. Hello. Hello, Irish people. That is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. The Vikings went to Ireland just to say hi.
I knew I couldn't say all the other words, and my mind blanked totally. Hi.
I'm trying to like flag some of these chats, and I can't because I'm laughing too hard. My hand won't stop shaking. Hello, Irish people. Hello. Hello.
Can we park here?
Christ.
Oh,
Oh God, my rib. I'm doing an ab workout already. Oh Christ.
It sounds like you guys had a good time.
Oh my God. Hey KB, I don't get this joke. Essentially, like right around 1000 AD, the Vikings just went and literally graped and pillaged everyone in England and Ireland. That's kind of the story. The end. In actuality, they just raped and pillaged the entire country, and we're just joking about them just stopping in to say hi. Oh my jeebus.
I saw the chat here. Hey, I'm Irish and DNA shows I'm Norwegian. Yeah, I wonder why.
I said like 3/4 of my ancestor are Irish, Scottish, and Irish, Scottish, and English, but my last name ends in son, so that tells you I'm Scandinavian by DNA.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah. We had some fun in one of the most boring end of the state case I have ever witnessed.
Oh, which trial is that you guys have been covering?
Zach Anderson, the supposed jealous boyfriend trial, where after roughly 2.5 weeks of the state case, they came forward with there's less than a needle prick of something that might be blood, but it was so small they couldn't test it for both blood and DNA, so they chose DNA. And that DNA they could not exclude the victim. That's the level of scientific accuracy it was on it. And that is all the physical evidence that connects the defendant with the victim. Other than that, you have let's see here. Prison snitch, who claims he heard the defendant shouting in his sleep, "Die, die, die, I'm a mother humper," and then questioned him, and now he is a witness for the state.
That's even admissible?
Apparently.
Like, here in Canada, I think there's plenty of precedent to say that would be inadmissible, as you don't know what that is referring to. Like that could be referring to the victim, or it could be referring to he played a lot of video games before he went into custody, and was thinking of, like, the villain from what do you call it? I'm just trying to think of the franchise here, but
yeah, his testimony was a bit longer, where he claimed that after he woken him up and said, "You said this, oh, did I?" And then all of a sudden the defendant, Zach, was confiding in this person who he had known for a grand total of a few days. And they spent 5 weeks in the cell. And as normal, he had deal with. He has a federal case against him for what was it? 600 pounds of marijuana, a few kilos of coke, and some crystal meth.
And I'm guessing those charges have gone away.
He is looking at a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of life for those charges. And of course, he is trying to get a deal out of it. And in not on the stand in front of the jury, but during the, what do you call it, voir dire or something.
Yeah.
When the defense questioned him, well, it turns out he has been snitching for a full year before this against his friends, and now apparently that hasn't worked to get him to get a lesser sentence, and all of a sudden he remembered this. So it's very, very credible.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I was on a jury, I'd be putting no weight on this whatsoever. Yeah. Also, there might be some noises. I'm about to operate a cricket.
Yeah, and then you have the daughter's testimony, who is really, really damning.
Yeah, this doesn't sound great.
No, but it's very, very. I'm starting with a mock defense closing on it, and more or less it is. They have nothing. This will be a very, very short closing. And the defense case in chief started Friday afternoon, and they think they will be done Monday afternoon. So that's, yeah, maybe Tuesday morning. But yeah, it will be really, really interesting to see what they come up with. So far, they have their own prison snitch, who has been locked up in the hole with the first snitch. And according to the second snitch, the first snitch was bragging about how he could lie to get a lower sentence.
I find that to be more credible.
Yeah,
that's more believable.
Yeah, because the second snitch has no deal whatsoever. He has nothing going for him. He just came forward to more or less don't put an innocent man in jail because of this first snitch. Or don't put innocent. Well, he has 4 charges against him: 2 counts of stalking, 1 count of murder, and 1 count of hiding a corpse. But that speck of what might or might not be blood, that's the only physical evidence the state has. They can't even place him together with the victim at any point through GPS or any other thing. They have the daughter's testimony where she claims she has been with her dad to go eavesdropping on mom when the victim was there. And well, the daughter has been with her mother for this entire time. And of what I could interpret from the testimony is that she, I don't know how it is in Canada, but it is like it's in Sweden, that there's only one person who is allowed to interrogate a child witness.
Okay.
Yeah, with special training so to avoid.
Yeah, they usually want special training here too, just because you don't want somebody causing more trouble. Like, children are very vulnerable to suggestion and so forth.
Yeah, and during the daughter's testimony, I had that hunch, but you never know how the jury will interpret it. And then the absolute final thing with the daughter while the jury was in was a question about an unregistered gun, that was supposed to have been in Florida all along, or no, California. And then she said, no. Oh, it hasn't been in California all along. No, it was up here at one point. Okay, and this was probably news to the defense. So they conferred, and the judge started speaking with the daughter to please just answer the questions. If there is a follow-up, they will ask other questions. And then she says, but I was threatened with it.
Okay. You think she would have known that?
Yeah. But it seems like this was news because this was during was it recross? And it feels like the prosecution baited it by asking about another registered gun. And so, of course, the defense asked about it too, and then boom. Now, Judge Schroeder said to the jury, disregard everything, it will be stricken. But, well...
Good luck.
You can't shove the shit back into the horse. It's out there.
The horse doesn't like that.
Yeah. And even if she didn't explicitly said that it was the father, the defendant, who threatened her, that's the implication you get. So, yeah. So that probably, if anything can put him away for murder, that's it. Because now they have some stalking or stalk-ish behavior. They have that nil prick of something that might be blood, where the DNA is inconclusive to the victim. And so then you have, on the prosecution's opening, they described the crime scene as more or less The Shining. Blood everywhere except a small area where there should have been a gray rug. And then we saw the crime scene photos. And no, not quite. It was some spatter on the walls, but not as you had to go up to the wall to see it. You had an area in front of the sofa where there was a decent amount of blood. And then it was a bit of blood on the sofa where somebody had sat down and rested his head. But without going too far into how I know it, but I'm a farmer. I've been raised on the countryside for my entire life. I have slaughtered a pig or two in my day. And a grown pig contains about the same amount of blood as a human being. We are surprisingly alike, us and pigs.
Some more than others, but yes.
Yeah, some more than others. And the amount of blood that is in a human being is staggering. And that pool of blood that was in that living room, I don't believe is enough to conclusively say this guy is dead. He might even be missing, because he has, so far as we know, 4 kids with 3 baby mamas. That is in Wisconsin, a minimum of $500 a month in alimony. Then he and his mother share bank account. His mother and stepfather bought him his car. He's a contractor who hires his friends, and he's more or less always owe them money. And these people may or may not have a criminal past.
So that means may, right?
may, allegedly. But some of this the jury doesn't know. But when they stepped up to the witness booth, yeah, they look shady. So you have a guy with lots of kids with different mamas who owes a lot of money. Now, what is the most probable thing that has happened? Is someone he's owed money getting sick of it, or this dude who is a bit mad that his girlfriend from 13 years all of a sudden has a new man. And well, there's a lot of strange stuff in that. But after the Murdoch case, I wouldn't be surprised if the daughter's testimony will be enough for a jury to convict him, to be honest.
It's entirely possible. Like I said during Murdoch, I said, like, looking at from what I knew, because I didn't follow it beginning to end, but I was like, I think, it looks like they've got a tough or some serious problems with their case, but you got to realize juries are inclined to convict. So,
yeah. I show his, he owed $60. That was the prosecutor who said that. The witness himself said that he was owed a lot of money. Now, I don't know, $60 might be a lot of money for him, but it didn't sound like it.
Isn't, like, that's not usually murder territory.
No.
Although, you never know.
Yeah. But the prosecution said $60. The witness said a lot of money. And that he also said that the times they argued was about money, when he was owed money. So it was a reoccurring event. But the defense wasn't allowed to ask more questions about how much money the victims was allegedly owed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see here, another one. Lady in Black. Leah Fififu. The DNA was not tested. Well, or they could say it was male. If you heard it 100% that DNA was Rosalios. If you have heard it 100% that DNA was Rosalios, you need to share your source. And it was clear it was not proven his. Yeah. Because on top of that, since Mr. Rosalio Guterres is missing, they don't have a full DNA profile.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, they at best have a 50% from the kids.
Still, that's usually going to be, but I mean, this is not thrilling me.
Yeah, and that's the weird part, because the state experts who testified about that prick of blood, I'm not sure if they were sworn in as experts, but I have to go back to and look at that. But the first state witness, female lab boss, said that she could say with a degree of scientific certainty that the DNA was Rosalio's. She didn't specify what degree, just a degree. So that wording was interesting. And then the state put on the other, her boss, I think, or colleague, who was supposed to peer review what she said. And he wouldn't say that the DNA to a certain degree of scientific stuff was Rosalio's. So he contradicted the first state witness.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I hope the defense has one lined up for Monday, an actual expert who can testify about that. But it's a really, really strange case. And then when the state's last witness took a bit of Thursday and almost all of Friday, and it was more or less going through the evidence or lack thereof once more, trying to boost what other witnesses had said. Yeah.
It
But-
sounds like a weird trial overall.
Yeah, and apparently the prosecutor is the district attorney. He's the boss of the prosecutor who prosecuted Rittenhouse. And
Yeah, because that one went so well.
No, it didn't go very well. And Judge Schroeder is the same judge as in the Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah, I remember Judge Schroeder. He's an interesting
hasn't-
fellow.
Yeah, but he hasn't been brazen this far, but he has been annoyed because he doesn't like when one part surprises the other. And it has been some back and forth on that.
Mm.
And he really, really don't want to declare a mistrial because it's already been a mistrial before, because the state forgot to tell the defense that one of their witnesses, when she showed how she went to the victim's house, she went to the wrong house.
Forgot to tell. Forgot, huh?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that was really, really interesting. And now let's see. The defendant, his ex-girlfriend, was the current girlfriend of the victim. Meanwhile, the victim, more or less on the same time, had went out searching for other women on Facebook dating. So he had one who he only talked to, and then right around the weeks before he disappeared, he got a date with that witness who went to the wrong house.
Ooh, this is getting a little too.
So I'm sitting there watching it and says, how is it that all of these people who the state have called as witnesses, more than a few of them should be suspects themselves?
Mm-hmm.
And they chose the guy who they have no GPS that places him at the Rosalio's place at the time they believe he was killed, or he is declared missing. He hasn't declared dead yet. And that's one thing that stuck in my head was also they claim Mr. Rosalio was killed on the 17th between 9 and midnight. 2 days plus hours later, when the cops showed up and went in, the blood was still wet.
Huh.
Mm.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No. Blood coagulates and oxidizes
really quickly.
Quite fast. Yeah. Okay, it was sunk into a rug, but
it's still gonna go faster than that.
Yeah, and the cops got there because the girlfriend didn't hear from him on the night of the 17th because she said he always texts good night, and he didn't. And then the day after, she tried to call him. He didn't answer. So roughly 12 hours after she, let's see, the next day at least, she hadn't heard from him for 12 hours. She got so worried that she told her daughter, another witness, remember Mr. Guterres? Yeah, I think he's missing. 12 hours later. Yeah. And then on the 19th, she showed up at his place, looked inside, saw blood, called the cops. At the same time, 2 other people showed up at that crime scene. So when the cops came, they had 3 witnesses already saying, yeah, this is suspect. And I'm sitting there, isn't there a theory about criminals returning to the crime scene to see what's going on?
Yep, that would be a concern to me.
Yeah, that's the condensed version, and I frankly don't even. I'm not sure the guy is dead because he owed money to.
And had a good reason to disappear.
Yeah, he was dating multiple women at once, allegedly, and it's not. It's not a stretch for me that when his date showed up, that woman who first went to the wrong house, when she showed up and the actual girlfriend called and didn't get good night, it's not a stretch of the imagination to think, why isn't he saying good night? Because she comes off a bit controlling, that she would drive over there.
Just
and all of a sudden, who's this bitch? Clonk. And it's time for him to disappear.
Oh, well, this sounds like an interesting one.
Yeah, but the trial is so boring except for 1 or 2 wow moments.
Yeah, I mean, that's how most trials go, except for the wow moments. Most trials are just not even the wow moments. It's just boring from beginning to end. So, I mean, that...
There's an argument around in the chat between, please be nice to each other. Or if you aren't, film it. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Are people being jerks to each other?
Nah. They are of different opinions. But there's no cursing at least. Half Irish, Uncle of the Bailey. How does missing and declared dead work in Canada? Remember the grandparents and child missing in Calgary? They did find remains on the killer's farm, but that seemed lucky.
I mean, after a certain point, it becomes a matter of like just what is the evidence, right? Because you're not necessarily going to know for certain, and so sometimes you may not actually have a like an ability to know that to a certainty, and so it might be a matter of just going, well, this is all we've got. Like, this is what we can do on this one.
Yeah. The normal in Sweden is to a person have to have been missing for at least 5 years. Then the family can apply to declare him. And then there's an investigation, checking bank accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's typically difficult these days to just like vanish entirely. So, I mean, people try.
Let's see here. There. Sadie and the friend were in contact. It was discussed but not presented to the jury. Okay, interesting. But then again, if the jury doesn't know, they can't take that into account.
Yep.
Yeah, the 2 male. Things keep popping up here. The 2 witnesses at the trial and who were at the crime scene, who showed up right around when Sadie, the girlfriend, no. Well, somehow they called the cops saying that their friend was missing or some of that sort. And then they decided to play Facebook detectives. And they found the defendant and they went an hour out to his place, to the front, didn't see him. So they walked around the back to confront him. Hey, where's our friend? Now, this doesn't apply to Sweden often, but if someone if I'm in my backyard and two shady-looking guys show up for a discussion, that discussion becomes quite violent quite fast.
Potentially, yep.
Because if I'm back in the garden, I often have something to garden with, and those are often sharp.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good place to go if you want to mess with somebody.
Yeah, and as I understand, they weren't even charged with trespassing for that. And so, yeah. Or they got it dropped for testifying. I don't know. Either way, the defense main theory is that the cops did a lousy job and they should have checked all other leads, but they focused on the defendant more or less on his ex-girlfriend's word.
The cops doing a lousy job? Who would have ever imagined this? I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you.
Yeah, half Irish. If that was Texas, they'd be shot. That's yeah,
probably accurate.
Now, let's see. What fun can... Yeah. Have you heard of a Swedish umbrella drink?
I have not.
You have not? Well, let me see here.
I didn't think the Swedes would be big on like tropical drinks.
But let's see here.
Did you just throw up? How much of that is just straight vodka?
A quarter, maybe.
Okay.
That's a Swedish umbrella drink. Let's see. Show it. Are you destroying evidence? I mean, are you...
I've got the cricket going. I'm doing some prep for some leather work.
Okay.
Some people had an idea, or some people liked the idea, rather, of me making some Settlers of Catan tiles. So I've got my little... this is my cutting die for cutting them out. And what is it? So I'm making stencils.
Okay.
Out of some flexible vinyl, and then I'm going to go and try doing some airbrushing and seeing if I can make some Settlers of Catan tiles. So hopefully I can get some people. Maybe I'll do I'll wait until after you're done, because I've got a bunch of stuff I got to get done. But I might do a shop stream and a little later on and be like, hey, let's make some Settlers of Catan tiles.
Okay. I haven't... Oh, that's one game I haven't played. I haven't played any games or video games or anything for quite a few years now. I've been too busy, sadly.
That one's a
But
board
no.
game, but it's not bad. It's not my favorite game by a long stretch, but it's not a bad one overall.
When I was a teenager, way back, we formed a club called Deje Chess and Strategy Game Society, where we played
Nice.
the original Dungeons and Dragons, and that was really fun.
Nice.
That then I went on until I went off to university, and then since then I haven't really played board games. I've been more or less the normal PC gamer. And the last accomplishment I have was I was at World of Warcraft on the Khadgar server, where I was an off tank when we opened the Dark Portal.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then I went to bed and then woke up, went through the Dark Portal, and every piece of gear I had, who I'd spent months grinding for, worthless.
Oh, yeah. So that's no good.
I studied at Lund University, and university I am at the moment quite disappointed in. I have a few videos about suspected research fraud at Lund University.
Oh, that's no good.
No, and it's really horrifying. It's from we have different defamation laws here in Sweden, so I have to be really careful with those videos. So I only use newspaper sources and open source. But this guy has been an employee as a research assistant at Lund University for 25 years. And so up until this paper, he hasn't produced one peer-reviewed study. He hasn't been he hasn't co-written one. He hasn't been a source, nothing for 25 years. And all of a sudden he publishes a 793-page study where he allegedly breaches GDPR by naming people with addresses.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is...
Why would he have cause to name anybody with addresses?
Again, sorry.
Why would he have any reason to name people with addresses?
But his thesis is about the Muslim Brotherhood, how they infiltrate the Swedish society on all levels. And how he walks through that is by introducing, they are called the Heart Organization, eller Föreningen Hjärta in Swedish, as pro-Islamic, but that is a Christian organization. So he does some twisting, and in that he needs to, this person has been seen there, this person has been a meeting there, and in that he publishes name and addresses.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and apparently this study wasn't ethics.
He didn't get approval?
They didn't even search for approval. The ethics committee wasn't even involved.
That's not good.
So, no, and despite all this, when he did his, opposition, he managed to squeeze by 2-1.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but 2-1, yes, it is approved, but it's still considered failure in most cases because you want to go out there with 3-0, that all three oppositions are, well, they approve of it. And the one who didn't was the highest ranking of the opposition. But now all of a sudden he is considered a researcher. And it's really, really sad to see my old university, and they put a solid lid on it. Yeah, so I'm a bit disappointed. I've reached out to a few of my old professors, but most of them are retired now, so it's not much they can do.
They probably don't want to touch it either.
Probably not. But as far as I know, there has been, since it might be a breach of GDPR, they can do it that way to have this approval revoked. Well, so I made a few videos on it, but I have to be really, really careful because, defamation laws in Sweden are a bit different than the States. In Sweden, not even the truth can be defamatory if it is unrelated to the issue.
That does not seem great either.
And well, I have better things to do than to get myself into a civil suit, because those can get expensive even if I win. Because in civil suits up to a certain, if it is $10,000 to $30,000, you both parties have to pay for their own lawyers.
Yeah, and so even if you win, you walk away having lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one.
Well, let's see.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Eva. 1.19k subs. Hope the rest of stream is good. I hope so too. How's Andy Tate case going? That's $1.50. Yeah. For people who has been on my channel for more than a month knows that I am not a big fan of Mr. Tate, but I'm an even bigger fan of due process. So my latest video on the subject, I am very critical of the Romanian court, because there has been another remainder for 30 days in the Romanian jail, and this time the court said he wanted to get to house arrest, ankle monitor, guards, stuff like that, revoked passport. And the court's decision was no on principle.
What was the principle?
The principle is, if I could interpret that correctly, is people charged with a certain crime, they don't allow house arrest on principle. And I don't like that, because now he's been in that jail since December 30th, and he's not. And even though they have told him the charges, he is not formally charged. That's the difference between U.S. And I believe Canadian judicial system. Our system says you don't formally charge until the first day of trial.
I mean, one of the things that I kind of have trouble having as much sympathy because he specifically went to Romania out of a preference for their legal system.
Yep.
And that was partially because he liked that they're not as thorough, or that their rules are a little different on sexual assault things. And it's like, if you're most people are not in a position to pick a country to live in based on their legal system. But it's like,
no,
you maybe should have done some more research on this one.
Well, since he moved to Romania, things have happened because he moved there. He opened his what do you call them? Well, he opened a sex sweatshop. Let's just call it.
Human trafficking ring is basically what the allegation is.
Yeah, human trafficking, and organized crime. So it's quite it's quite a bit of a kerfuffle he got himself into. But he moved there 2014, I believe, to Romania. In 2017, there was a huge case in Romania regarding another sex sweatshop, where the owner of that was sent away for...
I don't know if you guys can see it. It's a light cut in this, but I've got a sheep shape. So,
well, that case in 2017, which was concluded in 2018, the guy was convicted and was sent away for 30 years. But the allegations there was human trafficking, and how do I say this? One of the R's might have not been with a lady who was still with us. So
I'm not quite sure what you mean, but it sounds horrible.
Yeah. Well, the woman might not have been with us anymore when he did the art stuff. Yeah. So since then,
pretty horrific.
Yeah. So then they started a special task force in 2019, and 2021, early 2021, they started investigating all these cam girl places in Bucharest. So the case against Mr. Tate has more or less been going on since early 2021. But it wasn't until April of 2022 when two girls escaped, when they actually started to focus on him. So it's been, they probably have a lot on him. But that still doesn't say that this lost decision from the court, because everything that was said there tells me that the prosecution has everything they need. Every possible computer, phone, witness has been interviewed. So now it's just this last part of putting everything together. And so he's not, he might be a flight risk, but he can't interfere with the investigation anymore. And the flight risk thing can be solved, not just by revoking passport and ankle bracelet, because those things can be removed. But they have the option of placing guards as well.
Honestly, if I was the judge, I'd be very reluctant to grant bail on the basis of, the flight risk aspect, because I'd be sitting there the whole time thinking, okay, sure, you've got a guard. The guy's got the resources more than anybody else that I can think of to circumvent that.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I would want to hear something really meaningful on that one. And it's really tough because, I mean, how much money would you not walk away from for that kind of, like for 30 years, right? Because that's really what we're talking about is 30 years in jail. Or more.
With the organized crime bit, the R and the human trafficking, the penalties are 3 to 7 and 3 to 10. And for those, those can be stacked. So that means 17 years if he gets the maximum on both. But with organized crime bit, then
no
you have
kidding. He went to Romania for like that's their maximums.
Yeah, and those have been risen since that case. The only reason that guy got 30 years was fondling a dead body.
Those are some shockingly low maximums.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when people sort of talking about, hey, he went there for, the what do they call it? Because of the, the lax laws there. Yeah, no kidding.
Well, TT, bail in it to pay to get out of prison. No, we don't have that system. Our bail system is this person not a threat anymore to the investigation, flight risk, stuff like that. That is bail in Romania, in most of Europe.
Yeah, Canada, it's, I mean, one of the ways you can address the flight risk aspect is by putting up a substantial amount of cash, right? An amount of cash that you would not be willing to walk away from can potentially be a way to address that, right? But that just seems like the number would have to be just so high, right?
Yeah. Lady in Black, no, I don't believe we should have an American system where wealthy people can buy themselves out of jail on bail. For me, the only thing to determine if that person should be remanded or not, or placed in house arrest, is threat to the investigation, flight risk, tampering with witnesses. If those three are deemed to not be to not be there anymore, then it should be house arrest. And from the prosecution's side, during that hearing, I didn't get the notion that they believed either was possible for Mr. Tate. Prison sentence for human trafficking in Sweden is, I believe it's maximum 12.
And is that stackable or?
No, we don't have stackable system in Sweden.
So if you commit like 60 offenses, it's the same?
Yeah. And our current government have proposed a change of that, which is one of the few good things our new government has proposed. Because we have a infamous case of child P, where a person was child P and child R, where he had, I believe it was 5 terabytes of movies and pictures, and well over 20 victims, and he got max 12 years.
The way it works in Canada is basically if the offenses are part of separate issues, then you can have them run consecutively, so one after the other. But if they're part of the same sort of incident, then they should run concurrently, so at the same time. Now, so that said, the way that would work if you've got lots of offenses and they're all sort of connected at the same time is that typically that also pushes you towards the higher end of the range as opposed to the lower end of the range. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's tough to say, right? As to
10 years for murder, but that would be the equivalent of manslaughter. But they have because we have a very weird intent definition in Sweden with the planning part.
Tell me about that, because it might be closer to, like, Canada is different than the U.S. in terms of our, murder versus manslaughter, and especially on first-degree murder.
Let's see. I do labor law. I don't do criminal stuff. But
no, that's fair.
So don't take my word as dogma here. What was the question?
I'm just wondering, you were saying that there's a difference in sort of how they handle intent. So I was wondering about that.
Well, intent more or less has to be a proof of intent. Not if it is immediate. Yes, in some cases you can show intent if the person brought some kind of weapon with. But if it spur of the moment, grab that, stab, then you go down to more or less. As I said, don't take my word as dogma. But if it is at the moment, you didn't plan it, then it goes down to, even if that we don't have that split second of intent.
So in Canada, the way that it works is we've got murder has to be specific intent to kill with some, or, intent to cause injury that, could be lethal, and you're reckless as to whether death results. So shooting somebody, for instance, would be the classic example of the reckless as to whether death results. But for you can get a lot of situations where two people get into a fight, one grabs a knife and stabs the other, and that's probably going to be a manslaughter conviction if they can prove that, rather than murder. Now there's ways that it could go to murder if you were looking at, say, the guy stabs him and then just keeps stabbing him and, is and says something to somebody like, I'm going to make sure this guy dies, or something like that. But for first degree murder, it has to be planned and deliberate. And what that means is that it has to not just be, because in the US, you can go up to first degree if you just sort of, even in that sort of split second thinking. Whereas Canada, you have planned and deliberate means you probably have to have thought about it, and you went to somebody's house with a plan to kill them. You had some time to think about it. And so there have been cases where one guy is on the phone with somebody and he gets upset and he gets angry, and he grabs his gun, gets in his car, drives for an hour to go see this guy, and then walks in the front door and shoots the guy. And they said that's not planned and deliberate, because it's just all part of that continuous transaction of him being angry, as opposed to somebody who's actually taken the time to think about it. So
I saw. Okay, Ingrid here. 10 years for murder, not manslaughter. So I'm trying to find it. My two favorite. Hello, I'm not Obama. My two favorite haircuts on YouTube. That's funny because I don't cut my hair.
Neither do I, but mine hasn't grown to be quite as epic.
My last haircut was December 20th, 2019. right before the world ended. And apparently, well, for 3 years and some months, this almost an arm's length.
I stopped during the pandemic because for a while they shut down the they shut down all the barbers and so forth. Because they determined that was too much of a risk for people to go through. And so I just let it grow because that was easier. And then I had some people who got upset, and they were like, "Hey, why is this? Why are you letting your hair grow?" And I was like, "Screw those guys." So because those people were getting upset, I was like, "Screw it! I'm just going to let it keep growing."
Yeah. Let's see. Punishment for murder in Sweden is prison. At the lowest 10 years, at the highest 18 years or life. But this is not, that's from the Wikipedia, that's not updated. Now, the normal sentence for murder with intent is life. Then they have to prove circumstances to get lesser.
No, that
so that 10 years for murder must have been before that.
Makes sense.
Probably. I hope you got your answer, Ingrid.
Good enough anyway.
Let's see. Yeah, she. Punishment for murder is in Sweden. Prison at lowest 10 years, at the highest 18, or life. That's from Wikipedia. Yeah, but this was not long ago, maybe 2 years ago, where the praxis went from years to life as a normal. Thank you, Lucky. Set up a Ko-fi or something? What's Ko-fi?
It is a thing where people can send you money.
Okay. We'll see. I prefer to have. Let's start with YouTube and see if I get there, because well, we'll see. We'll see.
That's
how long is life in Sweden? Well,
too long.
Yeah, too long. That's why we are so depressed all the time. No,
if there's no akavit, it's
yeah. we are punishing ourselves all the time, anyways, with malört, surströmming, and smelly cheeses.
Is malört from Sweden?
Yeah, let's see here. Malört.
Let me get something to show you, and I'm also going to get myself another glass of akavit here, because you might be amused.
I believe, Mads, that you're thinking about how long is a life sentence. Well, if you're sentenced to life imprisonment, you can apply for parole. I'm not sure if it is 18 or 21 years. Some of it is. Yeah, malört. I'm trying to find. trying to find. Trying to find. Well, it's an old medicine stuff. Origins from continental Europe, North Africa, and big parts of Asia. And its Latin name is Artemisia absinthium. Yeah, absinthe. Is absinthe malert? Hey! Nice. There's your. Well, that looks like a decent can.
Well, the problem is that I didn't realize that you're not supposed to store them unrefrigerated, because I didn't realize that they continue fermenting. So this was actually stored on a shelf for about a year. So I don't know if it's still safe to eat, or at least if the quality is still good, because I've heard that like the fish inside will just become kind of like a fish mush.
Yeah.
If you don't like open it and eat it. So I'm gonna try it, but I may end up wanting to buy another can just to be sure that I've got a good can. Problem is it's so expensive to get here.
Yeah.
You've got to have it shipped from Sweden, and the shipping, because for some reason they don't want to just like ship this stuff. They like consider it like a biohazard or a weapon or something like that.
Yeah, and you have to don't tell your government that this could be a weapon of war, because they will ban that too.
But
well, I have cans that was 5 years old.
Were they stored in a fridge or on a shelf?
Well, in a cupboard, but in a cool cupboard.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna try it. I just want to get like, you know what? My wife is away. Maybe I'm gonna try this. I got to get like the baby potatoes, and I don't know if I've got like flatbread for it, but that would be a good idea if I could.
Flatbread, potato, sour cream, chives, and surströmming.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I'm gonna try it, I should be trying it and giving it like a proper go.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh yeah, well, I tried it and it was awful, and
Well, you have to open it in a bucket of water so it doesn't spray everywhere, and then rinse it, and then be careful when you take the fillets from the bone. Because I've seen all these videos of people, I'm going to try surströmming, and they pull out the entire fish and start chewing, and you just want to slap them.
Like, shouldn't it go onto bread and like with sour cream and potatoes and like as a dish, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure. Yeah, I've never tried it.
Yeah, and with dark beer and schnapps. Or akvavit.
I was gonna say this should be good for the schnapps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me it's kind of rude to try like a, any sort of foreign food where you're like, hey, I'm trying surströmming, but I'm not going to actually do it right. I'm just gonna say it's awful because I've never actually like taken the steps. So I will try the steps of. I don't think it kills people.
No, we don't have any reports of people dying from surströmming. They might wish to have been dead, but not actually dying. Because the surströmming smell, odor, aroma, whatever you call it, is potent.
Yeah, I mean, I've eaten durian, and that's no problem. I've decided I'm lazy and I don't want to go shopping, so I'm just pulling up. I'm pulling up like Uber Eats to see if they will deliver me some baby potatoes, and I don't think I can get the right kind of flatbreads, so I might have to skip the flatbread.
It's quite easy to do yourself. You need rye wheat.
Yeah, I just also feel lazy, so I'm just trying to look for baby potatoes on here.
You have a lot of hints and tips here. Open it. It's warm enough to sleep in the garage today.
I mean, my garage is heated, but at the same time, like, no.
You don't want to open this indoors because it will stay.
No. Yeah, no, I do not want to open this indoors at all.
Jill tells you to send it to Rob.
No, Rob would not eat it if I sent it to him. I am pretty sure he would know better than that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can get the potatoes. Maybe I'll do this, like, maybe I'll record something tonight or tomorrow. Just because that would be crazy. Organic yellow baby potatoes. That sounds like a thing.
Yep.
So we got that.
Mads says, Runkle, you need to make a stream with you eating the surströmming.
I will probably not do it on a stream because if it goes really badly, I don't think that's a live stream scenario. Sour cream.
Better open that about a week before your wife comes home and open the windows to air out the house.
Oh, I'm not opening it in the house. I'm going to set out a bucket outside. I'm going to dunk it in a bucket of water. And
Hi, Lego Mom.
And you said chives?
Chives. Gräslök.
These things.
I'm trying to get the proper... Yeah, chives.
Oh, hey, they've also got bitter melon. I'm doing my shopping now.
Pink salmon canned, salmon croquettes. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what sort of flatbread it would go with.
Oh, rye or sourdough flatbread would go fine.
I don't know if I can get that. I'd probably have to make that myself, and I don't want to.
Oh, meanwhile, well, I don't need to have you grieved for yourself because I believe more or less everybody who is on my channel originates from you in some way or form.
Well, no, I mean you've built a channel with your own. People are here to see you. So, although they might be also here, Zora. Let's see if she. Oh, here we go. We got a puppy. Come on up. Come on.
Puppy.
Come on. There we go.
Oh, nice puppy. Good dog.
She's a very good dog when she's not eating my Ethernet cable. Are you going to leave my Ethernet cable alone? She says, no. No, I will not. Your Ethernet cable belongs to me, and I'm going to eat it.
If you don't want me to eat it, why do you put it outside all the time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's exactly how she thinks.
Well, I see here that we might have had ourselves a second guest. Let's say hello to...
Hey,
Hey, Andrew.
how you doing, guys? Congratulations on a kilo
Yeah.
of subscribers.
A kilo subscriber. Yeah, I'm because I ran past 1K at Jeff's stream, and now I'm at 1200.
Oh, awesome.
Hmm?
Awesome. That's great.
So now we have two self-defense guys in the stream. Well, three, but I have different laws to apply to.
Well, 3 different legal jurisdictions as well.
Yeah. I can't
So
help that he was in front of my tractor running.
I just actually was out yesterday. I went to do 3-gun, and I was rusty as heck. It was so it was good to get out there and shake off a bit of the rust. But I'm sitting there. It's when you've got that time set up, every bit of knowledge fades away unless you're in the habit of doing things. And so I was sitting there at one point. I've got this shotgun, and my brain was not connecting the proper steps for loading more shells into it. I'm sitting there. I was just having a mental block because I'm sitting there forgetting to okay, I got to close the bolt and then feed the tube. So I was going.
It's all very very perishable skills. Running a firearm at a high level. I mean, there's the marksmanship itself, which is very perishable. The manual of arms, as you say, loading the gun effectively, efficiently, very perishable. And just the bandwidth problem. I mean, when you're shooting all the time, so much stuff becomes subconsciously conscious that you just see more. I mean, your brain is freer to work the complexity of the problem, whatever the stages you're shooting on. But that's a perishable skill as well, because as you lose that unconscious competence in those other areas, the marksmanship and the manual of arms, those end up consuming more bandwidth, and you have less bandwidth to solve the actual whatever the shooting problem is they've set up for you.
There was there was one stage that had a Texas Star. And you could engage the star with either shotgun or pistol. And of course, when you've got that option, the smart call is pistol, because loading a shotgun is super slow as compared to reloading the pistol. But I just got target fixation, and so I'm there with the shotgun. I should have gone for one set of targets, skipped over the star, and hit the other set of mandatory shotgun targets. But instead, I was shooting the star, and then I'm like, oh crap, now I've shot the shotgun empty. I still have shotgun targets. Whoops. And I did that to myself, and there's just nothing for it other than, these skills go away, and it's rough. One stage, because I was having trouble getting my brain to process reloading the shotgun before I got back into that skill, I was feeding one at a time, shell in, close bolt, fire, shell in, close bolt, fire. And it was okay, but it was not fantastic at all. So, it was a good time though. And I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to book as many for this year as I can. So
yeah, it's been my observation that one of the advantages of getting up to a pretty high level shooting is whatever. I mean, your skills are going to degrade anyway if you stop, if you take a break, if it's winter, whatever. But they tend to degrade about 50% from whatever the high water mark was. So if your high water mark is pretty darn high, 50% still leaves you pretty competent running that gun. But if you only took, someone only took a shooting class once and never really fired after that, 50% degradation of very little is very, very little.
Yeah, and I mean, for a self-defense firearm or something, practice with it on a regular basis, and practice things like, can you recover from a double feed? That's a tough one, especially under time pressures. These things are important, and I think a lot of people who there's a lot of people out there in like the U.S. who are like, I bought a handgun. When was the last time you shot it? Never. Okay, great.
Yeah, they might end up like the guy who brought his gun into the MRI machine.
Well, I consulted on a file where the lawyer's question was basically, how can a police officer unload his magazine from a distance of 10 feet and hit nothing? And, I was like, well, it's real easy if you get into a panic mode and mag dump. And I said, I bet, like, tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but I bet the first shot is about a foot away from the guy's foot. And he's like,
well, most police, at least American police, just don't shoot very well. They're not trained to a very high level. They're not really trained under stress at all. They're given very generous time allowances for when they do have to qualify with their gun. So there's no stress, and they're just not. They don't like the gun. They just carry it because they're required to. So they don't pursue marksmanship as a personal avocation. They just suck. If 30% of their rounds hit, that's pretty good for most police in a real life gunfight. That's about what they tend to score. It's 30% hits. And of course, when I say hits, I don't mean the other ones were misses. Bullets don't miss, right? Bullets hit something. They keep going until they hit something. They may not hit what you intended them to hit, but there are all those bullets that didn't hit the target are going on until they hit something else. And lots of bystanders get shot in America by police.
We had one in Edmonton recently where they opened up on this guy who was standing near an apartment building, and the guy who was inside the apartment got shot to death just because the police officers didn't really consider, hey, there's something beyond your target. Is that a safe? So, yeah.
So they are stormtroopers.
If you don't
stormtroopers were probably better.
Well, if you don't practice, it's really, it's hard to figure out what the effects of stress, even just the stress of time pressure will be. But the effects of stress of like fear of your life is an entirely different ball game, and not something I've never had to shoot under those circumstances, and I hope never to have to, but accuracy is poor.
Yeah, I think every country where cops are armed have their own examples. In Malmö a few years ago, there was a shootout between, well, not as much a shootout, but the cops, I believe 3 cops more or less unloaded, 2 hits on the criminal, and the rest sprayed. And it went into apartments, into cars. But do you know how they solved the problem with the bad shooters, with the police?
They took the guns away?
No, they gave them expanding bullets.
But that's done just about everywhere, but it still doesn't help. Like, but
these
shots.
real shrapnel stuff, bullets. And I hope they took it away again, but I haven't followed up on it. I just saw the article a few years ago that now they are permitted to use these bullets that are normally banned everywhere else. That's a bad idea.
It's probably that they're just using hollow points, which everybody talks about like they're banned for use in war. And honestly, the ban for their use in war is dumb. But it's it originated back at a time when this was unusual, but now this is what you'd use for. I don't think you could find a force in Canada or the US that wasn't using like hollow point, rounds.
No, I'm not aware of any. There was, I don't know if it's still a law in New Jersey. In New Jersey, it was the police all carried hollow points, but they made it unlawful for non-law enforcement to have hollow point ammo. So all the civilians had to have ball ammo in their guns, which is just a terrible idea, folks, because ball over penetrates like crazy and goes skipping down the street forever.
And you want the bullet to stop at its destination is kind of the ideal.
Yeah, I haven't fired a gun regularly since I was in the army, but that was a fun time. I got to shoot Glocks and 45, AK-4, AK-5, and then I was stationed at the Hobbies, so I could shoot the real projectiles.
Well, if you ever come to the U.S., come out to Colorado. I got plenty of guns to shoot here. I spent more than 10 years as a very active competitive shooter here in the U.S. So I've fired. I mean, the one pistol I mostly used for competition is over 100,000 rounds in it by itself. So it was a fun time. I saw someone in the comments suggest I should have Jerry Mikulik on my show. Jerry Mikulik's a well-known, famous shooter, competitive shooter, trick shooter, maybe here in the U.S. But I've never, because of competitive shooting in America is a very interesting sport because it goes to a very high level. But if you go to any national level match, you'll find people there that are like me, a small town lawyer, and then you'll have the world's best shooters also competing at that match. It's like if you went to your local golf course and you might bump into Tiger Woods at your local golf course and compete against them, play against them in the game. It's so if you compete a lot at a high level, you tend to meet most of the big names in the competitive space. And I have met most of them, but for some reason I've never met Jerry Mikulik. I don't know how I skipped over him, but there's still time, I guess.
The other thing is that you meet these people and typically they're really nice.
They are, without exception.
All of the high-level shooters that I've run into are fantastic. Like you sit there, I've come off a stage and they're just like, "Hey, you should look at this. Like you were doing this thing. Maybe consider trying this." And it's like, okay, I just got a shooting tip from somebody who's way above my level. That's always fantastic.
And it's the best way to learn competition is the best way to learn what's possible. I mean, you can't believe what's possible with a handgun for example, or a rifle, I guess, or a shotgun until you see it in the hands of someone who's genuinely skilled. And when I started competitive shooting with handguns, all my youth I shot rifles competitively, and I was pretty good. I mean, I made state level competition here in the U.S. in high school, and I went to my first pistol match, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do really well here. I'm going to really do good. I was maybe 24, 25 years old, and I got smoked. I got smoked by a bunch of fat accountants and plumbers who could barely get out of their cars, but they knew how to run a gun in a way I didn't. And it took me a long time to develop that level of skill. And by the way, every once in a while, a cop shows up to one of these matches, and they expect to do really well because they're a cop and they're issued a gun and they have to qualify a few times a year. And most of them get spanked by the same fat plumbers and accountants who beat my butt the first time I went to a match. The difference is I kept coming back until I got better, and most of the police, you never see them again.
There was an incident I know of where they brought out the tactical team here in Canada. They brought out like a tactical team and a film crew. And the idea was basically that they were going to film like a recruiting video to show like, join the police. We are the biggest badasses. And they were thinking that they were going to clean house. They came like the lower third. And amongst other things, there was like a 14-year-old girl who beat every member of the police force that showed up. And so that whole recruitment video got binned because yeah, it's
egos.
Yeah. And if you're not, I mean, I go to these things and I just I know the people who I'm not in competition with at all, right? Like
everybody knows the hot dog. Everybody knows the hot dog at the local club, right? That's the guy to beat. That's the guy who works hard, who does the work. That's the guy who dry fires every day. And he shows up, and every match he performs at a very high level. We all know who that guy is. Used to be me. Yep.
I will probably never be that guy because I just don't have the time that they put in. But I'm always I have a great time watching them. They just make it look so easy. And yeah.
So, Nicholas, what are your plans now? You broke through that. Is 1,000 when you can monetize your channel? Is that the threshold?
The threshold is now to get to 4,000 watch hours, and I am currently at, I'm going into my analytics. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see, 1.2K watch hours. So I have 2.8 left. But, well, first hurdle has been overcome. And since I was on Vice's stream on the Zachariah Anderson trial, things have moved. I had 540 subscribers on Wednesday. And today I have 1,200.
That's a nice jump.
And they have been asking quite many of the new subscribers, give us a marathon video so we can push that number up. So, well, here we are.
And by the way, folks, I know many of you out there are like me, and you have more than one computer and device in your house. Not saying anyone should try to game the system, but if you were to run shows on every device you have in your house, those watch hours would bump up pretty quick.
That's a very useful tip that the viewers may or may not choose to cheat the system with. I saw earlier chat. I'm not monetized, so I don't get. Well, there was one at least who said they still haven't got your book yet.
In the chat.
But when you're here, how about you grift a bit?
Oh, I'm just, I'm not in my office. I'm back home. I believe it or not, I did work all day today, but I'm finally back home. But I don't have any of my book. You can get my book, lawofselfdefense.com. Free book. My book, The Law of Self-Defense Principles. Law of Self-Defense Principles. Check it out on Amazon. 5-star rated, 4.8 star rated. There's always 0.2 a-holes doing reviews on Amazon. But let's round it up to 5-star rated. 1,200 reviews. People like the book, but don't buy the book on Amazon. Amazon will charge you for the book and the shipping and handling. I only ask you to cover the cost of getting the book to you, the shipping and handling. I'll give you the book for free. You can get that book at lawofselfdefense.com/free book. And I'm obliged to say, because I know we have an international audience, it only covers American law, folks. I don't know anything about Canadian law or Swedish law. I mean, I know a little bit, but the book doesn't cover any of that stuff. So it's only helpful to you if you find yourself in a position where you're shooting someone in America.
Although a lot of the principles apply sort of broadly, and just in the sense of what's going to play in front of a jury, the notion of hey, can you articulate what's, why you shot them is a good thing to have. Can you make sure that it was necessary to do so? These kinds of ideas are helpful in lots of places.
Yeah. So that's one I hear all the time. You need to be able to articulate why you shot them. And that's true. You do need to be able to do that. But a lot of people articulate legally unsound reasons for having shot the person. And that's not helpful. So, make sure if you're going to be saying anything, first of all, have a lawyer present. Don't be saying anything without a lawyer. And by extension, hopefully that will ensure that what you're saying, what you're articulating is in fact legally sound. But keep in mind, your lawyer is stuck with what you give him. Your lawyer is not a magician. He doesn't have a time machine to go back in time and change what you did. He's stuck with the facts you give him. So the importance of knowing these rules, knowing the law of self-defense before you find yourself compelled to defend yourself, your family, your property, is when you do have to talk to a lawyer. You're giving your lawyer good facts. If you're giving him good facts, you're very difficult to convict. Unfortunately, a lot of people only think they know what the law of self-defense is. They think in their head that they acted in lawful self-defense. Then they give their lawyer the facts, and the lawyer says, well, that's not good. And then you're not at all hard to convict. Then you're very easy to convict.
Never answer a question from the cops without your lawyer. And that's not even legal advice. That's common sense. Don't answer questions unless your lawyer are there to guide you through it. And if you need a lawyer, answer the lawyer's questions. That's, well,
It's actually stunning because, I mean, I had a dispute just earlier today with a lawyer who doesn't practice criminal defense, who was like, you need to tell the police everything that's going on because otherwise, you know, if you don't talk to the police, they're going to assume you're guilty. I'm like, they're going to assume you're guilty anyway, right? Like, let them assume, but the more you give them, the closer you're getting to conviction. So,
I don't get other lawyers to do that. Listen, my area of legal expertise is extremely narrow. It's not even broadly criminal defense anymore. It's just use of force law. That's all I do is use of force law. If somebody came up and asked me a real estate question or a tax law question or a trust and wills question, I tell them, I don't know. I don't know anything about that area of the law. Yeah. So when these real estate lawyers start giving out use of force law advice, well, first of all, they're wrong invariably. And second of all, it's like, what kind of ego do you need to do that? You know you don't know what you're talking about. You're just pretending.
What I see a lot is you get these guys who do, like, you know, civil litigation or something, and they think criminal law is easy. And so sometimes I just wince every time I see this, where somebody, this really wealthy client ends up getting charged, and they end up with this, like, their civil lawyer who does their, you know, mergers and whatever, or, you know, was really good when they were having to sue some other company. And he comes in and he's like, oh, it's a criminal case. It's no big deal. And I had to, like, we had one where it was a co-accused file. I had to basically drag the other guy through. And he's lucky that it was a situation where, like, both people were going to live or die together. Because if it was a situation of pointing the finger at the other side, I would have been like, he would have been all the way under the bus. But it was a situation of, so I'm like having to drag this guy through. And I know he billed his client like 10 times what I charged. And he just didn't know what he was doing. And it was terrifying.
I mean, in a sense, criminal law is easy if you're just going to get convicted. I mean, then it's very straightforward. I mean, you just do a bad job, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bad lawyers out there. I hate to say it, but it's true. And at least in the criminal defense field, I know plenty of criminal defense lawyers who, how can I put it? They're not
the fuck off.
They're not really advocating for their clients. They're kind of cranking the handle on their legal practice because most of their clients are criminals. Most of their clients are guilty, which my view is I don't care if the client's guilty or not. It's my job is not to find innocent clients. My job is to hold the state to their burden to prove my client's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It's rather inconsequential to me on a personal or professional level whether or not my guy did it. Prove he did it. I mean, that's your job. I'm going to make you do your job. But a lot of criminal defense attorneys, they'll just take that retainer and they'll crank the handle. They'll do what they're required to do ethically and professionally, but they're not really advocating the case. They're hoping for a plea bargain, so it consumes as little time as possible for the retainer that they got. Their client probably doesn't have a lot more money after the retainer anyway to pay them for some kind of lengthy defense. And that's what most people get from a criminal defense.
And I mean, the sad fact is that there's a lot of lawyers out there who will do that. And often the only real lawyering they're doing on the file is covering their own butt. Like they're doing just enough to make sure that guilty plea can't be overturned on the basis of ineffective assistance of counsel. And, you know, okay, he's covered his own butt, but yours is flapping in the wind.
People would be shocked to know people would be shocked how low the threshold is to be considered effective counsel, at least in the U.S. I'm not sure how other countries do it, but in the U.S., you're barely off the floor, and you've met the constitutional requirement for effective assistance of counsel. It's not like that means you have a good lawyer.
I mean, in Canada, it's a little bit above zero, but it's not that high. And I mean, unless they make certain really blatant errors, but so long as the steps that they take are justifiable as potentially a tactical decision, which can even include like, oh, you didn't call this witness who like is an eyewitness. But so long as that lawyer can stand up, and keep in mind that lawyer is now defending his career when he's called to testify about this, so long as he can say, like, yeah, I didn't call this witness because I thought that, they might be bad on cross-examination, even though they back up my client 100%, I thought they'd fall on cross-examination. Good enough. It's not going to be an effective assistance.
I saw that comment about immigration law. Immigration law is the worst. It's the worst because it's really extremely technically complicated. So you need to be an incredibly talented lawyer to be effective in immigration law. But mostly the people who want to retain your services don't have a lot of money. So it's hard to get paid well for doing the work that's really at an extremely high level. I wouldn't do immigration law because I think it's too much work.
It's a brutal area, and it's unrewarding and depressing because a lot of your clients will still get deported even if they are sympathetic. One thing that's been a big issue in Canada is that if your application is based on fake documents or whatever, you'll get deported. But there were a whole bunch of people who were brought here by some shady immigration consultants who told them that they had a university posting lined up, and they get here and they've been approved based on this fictional university posting, and then they go and say, hey, I want to report my immigration consultant because they said I was able to go to school here, and they get deported. And they were defrauded, but they still get deported. It's terrible.
It's a very high stakes area in the law, very technical, very easy to do it wrong, very easy to trigger a tripwire that gets you thrown back out of the country on short notice. It's very, very hazardous area of the law for the clients. And if you have an immigration attorney who's not particularly good, that's oh my God, that's a bad spot to be in.
Well, and the other sad thing is that bad immigration lawyers don't tend to face a lot of consequences, because at the point where they screw up, their clients are gone and not typically in a great position to bring a complaint. It's like if somebody's been deported back to a war zone, they're probably not sending in a law society or, a bar association complaint. It's
over here, it's not my area by a long shot, but I believe the immigration lawyers are appointed by the immigration authority, who decides who can stay, who don't.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that could a bit of a conflict of interest, but I believe they do as good of a job as they can, because between 2015 and 2019 we had over 150,000 refugees per year, and I believe I don't have the number in front of me, but for most of them, they more or less had to pay their way here. They got here, their smuggler, who they had to give their passport and papers, disappeared with the passport and papers, and all of a sudden they're at the border with something. And I believe the number is 80% got sent back quite fast. And the rest of the 20% took so long to get their cases tried that even if they came here when they were 15, they turned 18 while here. And then as an 18-year-old, your chances of immigration status are virtually zero, because then you're an adult and can manage by your own in your home country, even though you came here at 14, 15. So but that number, I believe, and now of course COVID and stuff, but I believe the number of refugees were less than 10K since 2020. So they are catching up at least. But we are a very, very popular country to flee to.
I mean, I can see why. It's a good standard of living and so forth. You don't necessarily want to flee to somewhere where you're, you might be safe but not comfortable. So people sort of try to get to where they can.
Yeah, and we do have changed a few last decade, so it's not what it used to be. So.
And Nicholas, you're in Sweden. Do I remember that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's pretty country. I've been there. It's very pretty. Well, I've been there. Yeah, in the winter it's mostly just white, but it's
a very very white country overall.
All around.
Well, have you seen my Swedish umbrella drink, Andrew?
Oh, very nice, very fancy. Oh, my daughters have a straw just like that. Oh, vodka, nice. I hope it's mixed with something.
Yeah, it's a screwdriver in the vodka bottle,
nice.
directly in the vodka bottle.
When I went to Norway and did a semester there as part of law school. All of the classes I took that semester were completely useless, but I got handed a bottle that was like orange juice and vodka. And it was about like enough orange juice to change the color. And other than that, it was just straight vodka. That was a bad night.
It was. I have to say. So I've only ever been to the countries for business purposes, business trips. But you stay at nice hotels as a business person, and you go down to the bar, and often there's like a guy playing a piano down there. And I have to say, those Scandinavian countries, those people know how to drink. they know how to put back a couple drinks. It was. And I'm a guy. I enjoy an adult beverage as much as anybody else, but the competition was very, very stiff.
Yeah, well, the only people who actually have drunk me under the table are Finnish, Russians, and Ukrainians.
Okay.
Finns can drink. I can.
Yeah, I went to Ukraine about a decade ago, maybe more, before the Crimea stuff happened, with my then girlfriend who was from Ukraine. And we went to a health spring in the northwest, outside of Lviv. Lviv, Lviv. And well, that was interesting. So she was up in the hotel room. I went down to the bar thinking, well, there must be a lot of international guests here. No. So I tried to order just something simple. Vodka with ice. I believe English, Swedish, German, all the languages I could think of. And she stood there, went back, and I did, okay. She came back with a bottle of vodka, a bucket of ice, and an orange. Okay. I was so much, and that health spring was located in the hills. You have to pass through. There was an oil drill there. There was a gas drill there, and all of a sudden you came to this health spring, and it smelled of sulfur and diesel.
Nice.
Yeah, it was an event. I hope to go back there because very, very friendly people. We couldn't understand each other for one bit, but we could drink. And they drank me under the table. And on the way back, I went from Lviv to Frankfurt by a tiny, tiny airplane. It was a pack of gum with wings. So it was me and 20 Russian and Ukrainian businessmen. And it was a 3-hour flight. I was sober when we started. I wasn't when we came to Frankfurt. Damn, they can drink.
I'm actually going to be in that part of the world this summer. Not quite in Ukraine. We're not going into Ukraine, but just just west of that. So Vienna, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Croatia. I think we're going around Serbia on doing a 2-week motorcycle trip out there.
Oh, nice.
Croatia has improved so much, and the roads are gorgeous.
That's nice. I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, you will have a blast.
That's one thing I was reading. I was from people who've done this kind of trip like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. They did mention the roads were in pretty bad repair.
Yeah.
But if that's been improved, because I've already ridden all over Western Europe, so I wanted to do something different. But if the roads are in good shape, that's for motorcyclists. That's heaven.
Yeah, they have improved a lot. European Union have a special grant just for road building. And so the former Eastern European countries have improved a lot, but you still see the roads normally starts great at the airport, at where the politician lives and where the billionaire lives, and then the good roads spread out.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go, well, it gets a bit difficult outside of the cities, but it has improved, especially Croatia. My dad and stepmom often go down there. She was my younger sibling are half Serbian, and so they go down there once in a while to visit.
And you mentioned hot springs. Apparently there's a lot of hot springs out there.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware, but I think we're stopping. Well, several of the cities we're overnighting in have hot springs in them, so that'll be fun. We got plenty of hot springs here in Colorado, of course, and I really enjoy them.
Rain Man, yeah. That German dude had it coming. Yeah, Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, yeah, former Soviet Empire. Not to play with. Which brings us a bit back to when we discussed Andrew Tate choosing Romania for their liberal laws on his business adventures.
If you're going to choose a place for its laws, you better really understand them, because not everywhere is big on things like presumption of innocence and due process and all of that.
Not always even America.
Yep.
And especially if you piss the entire country off by saying how easy it is to bribe cops in Romania. Well,
that's not a grand move.
And as I said before, it's not a secret that I am not a fan of Andrew Tate, but not as much of this controversial stuff with how to treat a woman. He doesn't date over 19 or whatever. It's these pseudo philosophy quotes he puts out on Twitter. And Jesus Christ, what a pile of garbage. I mean, go to an Amway meeting, go to a Herbalife meeting. That's the kind of quotes he puts out on his Twitter, and everybody goes all, oh, what an intellectual he is. And
yeah, but he does it because it works. I mean, he's building essentially a cult type following among disgruntled young men, and it's effective. I mean, they're amenable to that kind of message, as people like Andrew Tate throughout history have effectively been able to do. That's how you amass that kind of prestige and power especially among a relatively poorly educated group of young disgruntled young men. It's easy to present yourself as intellectual and insightful to those people because they're not. And there's nothing new about it. It's
in the land of blind, the one-eyed are kings.
Right.
Yeah. That's I have Jesus Christ. I have over 30 videos about Andrew Tate, most of where I gloat. But then the latest, when me and Ian discussed it earlier, when I believe the Romanian court made a bad call because of he is, as I could find out, they more or less, the prosecution has everything collected, everything done, every witness, every piece of information in the computers, phones. They searched his houses up, down, everywhere. They seized every bank account they can find, his cars, everything. And they still having remained it for another 30 days because in principle. And that's now we are turning into, okay, but he's been in there for since December 30th, I believe. Now he's been remained until the end of March, and they can remain him for up to 180 days. Now that's the rule, but it's not. It's a soft rule. They can remain him longer if they ask for it. So we can end up in a situation where they can, in theory, have him there for years. And it all,
yeah. I mean, listen, I would say I think it's terrible, except I see many of the same defects in the American legal system. I mean, I don't really, I'm not personally invested in any defendant or someone who may be a suspect of a crime. I don't care very much about them personally. It's not important to me. They're not friends of mine. They're not family. But I care a lot about the process, because the process that we give to the worst of us is the process we can expect for ourselves. And I don't think Andrew Tate's getting any form of due process of law that I would recognize, but that happens in America all the time too. And I think it's terrible. We don't have a real probable cause standard here in America. People are put in jail all the time on charges that are completely inadequate, charges that no reasonable person would say there exists probable cause to support those charges. They're dragged into trials that cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars to defend themselves, if they have hundreds of thousands of dollars. If they don't, they often get a very weak defense when they're at trial. And there's always a risk they get convicted. Innocent people get convicted all the time. So the mere fact that you're in the courtroom puts you at unbelievable risk, even if you're the most innocent person in the world. And we're supposed to have mechanisms in place to prevent you from being subject to that risk, unless there's damn good reason to put you at that risk. There's supposed to be at least probable cause, which should be, it's more likely than not that you committed the crime before we can drag you into trial. But we don't do that in America. We drag people into trials all the time on nothing, often on lies, on false sworn informations or bad information given to a grand jury to get an indictment. It happens frequently. And I don't know that much about foreign legal systems. I know the American legal system very well. I know what its defects are. And I think it's terrible, because the consequences are potentially years of your life, maybe the rest of your life, in a cage.
Yeah.
Meike asks, some Americans begrudge Romania for jailing him without charges. Would you share your take on that, dear gentleman? Well, this is the European judicial system, where we don't formally charge until the first day of trial. Up until then, the defendant is presented with the charges they are planning to get to. But it is on the first day of the trial you are formally charged. And I believe that I heard, what's his face, the don't self-snitch guy, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
Yeah, in America, it's a little different. So in America, of course, if the police arrest you, they need probable cause to arrest you. They think you did something, so they arrest you. Then you'd be brought to a jail, and within a certain period of time, usually hours or day, although in some places, in some rural places of America, it can be weeks. But in most urban centers, in most cities, within a few hours, you'd be brought in front of a magistrate, which is like a lower level judge. All he does is listen to people who just got arrested. The state says, this is why the cops arrested him. This is the bail we want, or whatever the conditions for release are. And technically, that's what you're charged with. And those charges would then be presented to a grand jury. Often, a grand jury would then either return an indictment or not. If they return an indictment, that means you're going to trial on those charges. But it's really a lot more ambiguous than I just described it. The charges can change at any time, really. The prosecutor can bring new charges right up to the point when the trial starts. And even after the trial starts, they can, there's a point in the trial where it's argued before the judge what the jury instruction should be, what charges the jury is allowed to consider. And the jury can be allowed to consider lots of charges that were not in the indictment, so long as they're a lesser included charge, the lesser offense of whatever you were charged with, which can be a lot of lesser included charges. I've seen jury instructions that were 40, 50 pages long. And none of that was anything you were originally charged with, not arrested for, not charged in front of a magistrate, not presented to a grand jury. Suddenly, the day before the jury goes into deliberations, they're considering you for some other offense that's never been talked about before. It's crazy. Don't put yourself in that position unless you really, really have to, folks. It's no fun.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people who walk out of the courtroom feeling satisfied or happy with the process. Even winners can hate it.
And I see in the chat, and I see down here, we have another guest. Let's say hello to Nate.
Hey, Nate.
Oh,
how you doing?
Hey, Nate. Who is here? Hey, how you guys doing? I don't know if you guys look at the private chat. I'm like, hello, I'm trapped in the back. I'm answering questions. Bruce Rivers, that lawyer.
Yeah, Bruce Rivers was the lawyer.
There's a
Bruce Rivers, criminal lawyer. I like his little, he has a nice little jingle.
Nicholas, there's a setting that you can make or that you can set so that it'll make a noise when somebody is in the back. It's a useful setting.
Like a ping.
Yeah, because otherwise I miss people when you've got an invite out.
Just play a sound when guests enter. There.
Yeah, there you go.
Congratulations on the 1,000 subs. I saw your DM. I was like, somebody just sent me a DM to go outside. Like, let me see. Then I went to the channel. I see these crazy guys on here. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, let's go celebrate this 1,000 subs then, guys.
Thank you so much, Nate. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just went shopping with the family. Just literally sat down and started looking to see what I was going to do. And then I saw you guys on. I was like, oh my God, I can join this stream. So I'm happy I was able to get on. You know, how's it feel getting over that 1,000 subscriber mark? Because I remember when I first got over 1,000, I was like, I can't believe it. There's 1,000 people out there that likes to watch my stuff. You know?
Yeah, I'm surprised, and I have to say I almost feel that I'm cheating because I have been watching you guys since the Depp trial and talking to you in the chat and sending super chats and stuff like that. And then around what was it, Christmas, I decided, well, you know what? I have stuff to say. I don't want to have to send super chats all the time to get my voice out there. So I started the channel, and the first thing that happened was I got a shout out from Rob, Ian, Nate, Alyta. Lots of people gave shout outs. I went from 10 to 300 within a couple of weeks. And that was amazing. And then it's added.
There's no such thing as cheating in this.
No,
That's true.
Yeah, and then I went on Wednesday. I had 540 subscribers, and then I went to Legal Advice's stream on the Zachariah Anderson trial, and it just boomed.
That's amazing. Well, congratulations, and you deserve it. And just wait for the ride because, you know, we've all been on that ride. So enjoy it. Especially, you know, it's funny because I always think about when I got like my first couple of subscribers, not even my first 1,000. Just like, you know, when you got like 500 subscribers and like, wow, I just, you know, there are people out there who like my stuff. All right. You know, it's like those moments really propel you to try to see if you can get that back. But no, it's be thankful for even having this because most people don't get to 1,000. So.
Yeah, and I'm here. I'm not even. What am I? January, February. Well, 3 months in, and all of a sudden I'm at the place where most YouTubers never come to, and it's a rush of sorts. And because all I'm doing is watching stuff, telling my opinion, and it seems like more than a few people. Some are quite mad at me, but that's just fun. And this many people agree in some shape or form, and it's amazing. And I've spoken to audiences before in my career on big rallies and stuff like that, but this is a totally separate thing, because then it was just union stuff, doing rallies to people who were in the union and stuff like that, and all of a sudden I have three-quarters of my audience is American, and that's
yeah. You see how crazy us Americans are then, huh?
Time for I know. Time for a better microphone. It's not as much because I have bought a microphone, but my 5-year-old gaming computer doesn't like this microphone, so I need a total upgrade.
You might need the new computer.
Yep.
It's a good excuse.
Well, I can tell you, I upgraded my equipment just a little piece at a time, one piece at a time, over a very long period of time. I mean, the setup I have now is ridiculous and quite expensive, but I didn't start there. I started with really nothing but a laptop and a crappy Bluetooth microphone, and but as you build it out, you buy a new piece here, you buy a new piece there, and before you know it, 10 years later, you have a nice setup.
You got a short 7B, right? I remember when I told my wife, I was like, you know what, I got to buy this microphone. She's like, how much is the microphone? I'm like, what is it, like $500? She was like,
oh, it's expensive.
Why the hell are you buying a $500? I was like, but one of the key things with YouTube is a lot of people don't realize this early on. Is even though we're on a video platform, sound over video. If people can't hear what you're saying or can't understand what you're saying, they click off the video faster than if they can't see it, right? So it's always set. But we all think because we're a video-based platform, it's the visual, but it's not. Sound over video. So that's why you see everybody really have to up their audio.
I had a video that
90% of my budget is on audio. Only 10% of it is video stuff.
I had a video that I uploaded and I didn't realize it, but after about the first 45 seconds, it fuzzed out and stayed that way until just about the end. And I got very few comments because most people, when you're doing this sort of talking about law stuff, they throw it on and they just listen. There's not a lot of people who are upset by bad video at all.
Well, as for now, the microphone is the built-in one in the $30 webcam.
Right.
Yeah, but next project must be to get a better computer. And well, tax return comes in May, so that will help a bit.
Good. Well, hopefully you'll get that level.
I will say that Shure SM7B is a damn nice microphone. It's really, I mean, it's expensive because it's worth it. It's definitely put it on your wish list for down the road.
Oh, let's see. Now we have one more guest who I won't leave in the back for as long. My attention, Let's say hello to Dr. Hines.
Dr.
Hello.
Hines, what's up, man?
Oh Lord. Oh Lord, I did not expect this. How are you guys doing tonight?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Here. Oh Lord.
How are you doing?
Ronco. Hello Ronco, hello Nate, hello Branka. Nice to see you all again, and thank you for inviting me, Nicholas. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm having my Swedish umbrella drink.
God knows with you.
You already joined the club.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm having a great time. And I see here that I'm 1,210 subscribers. So
that's
so
amazing. Congrats, by the way.
One of those is One of those is me. I just realized I was not a subscriber, so I just subscribed right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh,
Hey, you know what?
this is good. Who is Dr. Heinz? Yeah, introduce yourself.
I go by Dr. Heinz. I just do investigative videos where I look into cases or whatever social media topic that is really popular, and I just look into that mainly. So yeah, that's mainly who I am. Hopefully you guys get to know me. Gosh, I'm really bad at intros. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at intros.
You gotta have
no worries, no worries.
Speech. You gotta have the elevator speech, the elevator pitch.
Yeah, you got one fan here. Go subscribe to Dr. Heinz. I saw your interview with what's her name? You had a stream just a few days ago, didn't you? Or was it a week ago?
No. Was it with Legally Blonde? Legally Blonde. Yes. That was last month. I think when the amicus briefs. No, that was December when the amicus briefs was.
Oh, okay. It was so long. Okay,
it was around that time. Yeah, that was a fun stream. Yeah, that was some. I never. Oh, some insane arguments were in that brief. I just never thought I would actually. It was so me and Alana were reading it, and we're like,
"You have a fan club over here."
oh wow! Thank you. I don't get called handsome a lot, so I'll take it on board. It's nicer than my mom calling me handsome.
This was on the Amber Heard appeal. Is it with her the stuff that she's going through with the insurance company?
No. This was for the amicus briefs, and when she filed it. So this, I think, this was before. Yeah. So this was it was a long while ago, and yeah, we were just running through that. Pretty much it. And then we took the opportunity. Go on.
No, because I know she's still inside that legal battle with her insurance companies or whatever. I think Laura B is covering that or whatever.
Yeah, they had a hearing on Monday on her counterclaims, and the rumor is, I haven't seen the papers yet, but she lost the counterclaims.
This is not terribly surprising with the.
No, the judge said on Friday that you have until Monday to come up with the actual. You will have an oral argument on Monday, and if that isn't good, it's going to be thrown out. And yeah. I don't.
In plain English, what the judge basically said was, all I'm hearing from you is nonsense. You have until Monday to come up with a nonsensical reason why I should do what you want. That was a great. I love when judges do that. It's of course it's all in legal terminology, but that's what he's actually saying. This is ridiculous. I'm going to give you over the weekend to think about it. Try to come back with a good reason.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the documents yet, Make, but as I've heard, it was one counterclaim was dismissed with prejudice, and the other they have one final chance to amend or refile, because it was dismissed, but they can still refile it. Something of that. I'm not an American lawyer, so I don't know all the terminology.
No, but you got it. One was
that's it.
One they can bring back, yeah.
Now we'll try to brag a bit. A while ago, I bought a new tractor. Not because I needed one, but I just couldn't refuse. But let's see if you can spot why I couldn't refuse this.
Nice and clean.
Sorry, did you say you bought a new tractor?
No. That's a glorious license plate.
Okay.
I can see why you couldn't refuse it now. I can see why. How much was it? If you don't mind me asking. Huh?
$500.
Ah.
In other words, it's new to you, but it's new to us, right? But it's not new to this world.
It's a 1954 Ferguson F14, I believe the correct name is. It's a whopping 20 horsepower engine, and top speed is 5 miles an hour downhill, sun in the back. Yeah.
Does it run?
It runs.
Does it run?
5 miles to the gallon.
All right, so it runs. Yeah, that
It runs.
A common advertisement you'll see in America when people are trying to get rid of an old motorcycle or an old tractor. They'll say, "Well, it ran when parked," and we're not sure it runs right now. But the last time we touched it, it ran.
No, I didn't find any Russian tanks to tow. Oh. Well, I didn't really need that tractor, but I'm planning attaching a plow to it so I can rent it out during the winter to plow the wintry roads down here. Because that can pay some nice. It pays nice. What do we have here? I have half a bucket of hammerite if you want me to mail it to. That's very, very nice of you, but no, I'm good. My kids.
At least down the stairs.
Yeah. Oh. That's vintage. Yeah, sure. Let's call it vintage. Now,
so do you plan on doing the mechanical maintenance on it yourself?
My cousin is a car mechanic, so I just dump it off at his place. So that's a good thing because I have my aunt about a mile that way. I have my cousin 2 farms down, and and everybody is good at something, and if everything goes completely, I do labor law, so I'm not much of a help, but my sister works for McKinsey, and they know people.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we are 2.5 hours into this live stream. Anyone want to add on something before we call it a day?
Well,
let's start with Ian.
Oh, just want to say congratulations. It's well deserved, and hopefully not the last milestone you'll be celebrating here.
I hope so too. Anything you cover next?
Well, I'm still following up on. I didn't think that we'd have developments in the Rust trial, but it's funny how that prosecution manages to keep scoring goals, but they have yet to figure out which goal is theirs and which is the other side, because they keep going the wrong way on that. I'm kind of just annoyed at how often they're like, "Hey, we laid a charge that is in violation of the Constitution, but now we're going to blame Baldwin's lawyers for us having to back off on that." So we'll see what developments happen in that. I still haven't reviewed the Jensen Ackles interview, so I want to do that because I've watched it, but I haven't sort of done commentary on it. So I'll probably do that in the next little bit. I also
what's that, Ian? What's the Ackles interview?
He was interviewed about the Baldwin shooting because he was on that same set. And so he had some comments, and some of them were pretty critical. I don't think him and Baldwin are going to be sitting at a dinner table anytime soon. So, yeah, I also kind of want to talk about, I tried out a new piece of kit for when I was shooting the 3-gun competition, and I really liked it. And that's not like shooting equipment. It was just stuff for carrying around your gear. Because when you're having to go from like station to station, you got to carry all your gear around. That's a pain in the butt. So I kind of want to talk about that too. So
here in America, a lot of the 3-gun shooters use, those little kind of like, they're like tricycle gears for carrying golf bags.
Okay, yeah.
They're almost like, or they're like baby jogging stroller things.
Yeah.
But then they set them up to carry all their gun gear for 3-gun.
I was actually using a toolbox. It's the Mastercraft Pack-Out set, and it worked really well. So I want to talk about how well that worked. And yeah, that'll be probably a video. So,
well, in terms of the Baldwin thing, I just don't. Now, again, it's up to the prosecutor what charges they want to bring and how aggressive they want to be. But if they brought this manslaughter charge and if they want to be aggressive, I just don't really see a legal justification for him. I mean, he's fortunate they got rid of the gun sentencing enhancement, which would have been a 5-year mandatory minimum sentence if he got convicted, and they appropriately got rid of it. It was stupid for the prosecutor to have brought that in the first place. That was just professional incompetence on the part of the prosecutor. But he's only looking at a discretionary 18 months, even if he's convicted. It could be no time. I mean, the judge could just say no time.
I was shocked at how low that was.
18 months, even if he's found guilty of recklessly killing Helena Hutchins. So the stakes have been greatly reduced now, and his legal defense is very, very solid. I mean, they're doing a great job for him. I don't see any view of the facts in the law that leads to him not being guilty by a reasonable jury, but his defense team is certainly doing what they're getting paid to do.
So are you saying you would risk it? Do you think you should risk it?
It's his entire career on the line.
As opposed to what's risking what against what?
Maybe taking a deal.
I mean, he's
they're trying to have him plead out to something. Give him a misdemeanor now, save the state.
But I don't know that they are.
Has
he been offered a deal?
No, I'm asking as a hypothetical. Would it be because you in prosecution they're going to offer the deal, and I don't believe they just offer him the max, right? Max will just max you out on this because of the facts. Generally, they'd offer you like a misdemeanor or something like that. But I'm saying in the hopes that they've offered him something, let's say a misdemeanor, hypothetically. Do you think he would take that deal?
You got to take it. Of course, no, you got to take it. Of course.
I don't think he will. He's ego.
I think right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think his ego would drive him. He would think, if I get on the witness stand and talk to the jury, I can act my way out of this charge. And maybe there's a 95% chance he could. I don't know. But there's a 5% chance he can't. And then you're spending a year and a half on a felony in prison.
That's what Murdoch. That's what Murdoch did, right? Murdoch thought he could talk his way to the jury. He talked himself into a conviction.
Well, I think that jury was going to convict him from the first day of that trial. I don't think anything did in that trial made any difference.
Okay.
I mean, it's often a very difficult conversation we have with clients where they're offered a plea deal, especially in self-defense cases, because the client thinks they acted in self-defense. They can't believe they're being prosecuted for self-defense, and then they're offered a plea deal, and they don't want to take it because they don't think they did anything wrong. And you have to explain to them that. Listen, it's this offer or a real risk of 20 years in prison. And it has nothing to do with whether or not you're innocent. So think about it hard before you say no.
You know what? A lot of people think that when here in America, when people take deals, it's really because they did it. But people don't know the pressure of taking a deal because the prosecutor knows what type of deal to give. Hey, listen, we have enough. We think we can get you on this, but we'll give you, take a year, take 6 months. And you really got to put on, hey, I get out now. I get to go back to work. If I'm fighting a trial, who's going to pay for that? Or that time away from work and all that stuff. And I got 2 or 3 years I got to deal with that. All those pressures.
And you might get convicted.
And you might get convicted. And or you can go right now, go on with your life, and you just and you go. And a lot of people take that deal, and sometimes I hate when the prosecutors give my client like a deal, and that deal is just too good because they're like, you know what, just because I don't want to go through the pain and headache. And I think like 80 to 90% of the people, they want to go home. They don't want to continue to go through the process. So I think sometimes with these deals and things, unless you have the means to fight it, you're more likely going to take a deal. Not everybody's going to get the dream team like OJ, and not everybody's going to get these lawyers like Baldwin.
Yeah, but the issue with that is, if you get a conviction now, then you have a rap sheet, and say you make a minor mistake 5 years down the line, when now you can get charged an extra sentence because you have a prior.
Yeah.
So even if it's a great deal that makes that, you can go home, time served, whatever. Yeah. But you have to take in account 5 years from now as well. If you happen to be in a self-defense situation, and all of a sudden I see you have a rap sheet, no matter what that rap sheet is, you're assumed guilty.
It's very likely it'll come in, and many U.S. states have what we call three strike laws, where you have 3 felony convictions, and essentially it's a life sentence in prison, regardless of what the felonies are for. So yeah, that just accepting that first strike, you better be damn confident you're not going to accumulate any more.
Yes, I definitely agree with the formulation of the risk, but I still think there are risks on both sides, and I do think there's also a risk of conviction. Let's not forget that. And you're giving up that chance that you can go away for a longer period of time than going home right now. And I think it's a very hard thing to turn down, right? And I think most people who do take these deals take them. That's why like something like 98% of the cases at the prosecutor's office end in a plea bargain. That's because all those people are making that same choice. I want to go home.
If we had to bring everybody charged to trial, we couldn't build enough courtrooms. It would be impossible.
Okay, Andrew, your turn. What's going on? What have you lined up on your channel?
With me, I don't know. I don't have anything special. I just work every day. And so, but you can find me at lawofselfdefense.com. Just any social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, Rumble. Just type in Law of Self-Defense and I'll pop up someplace. And yeah, I'm not pushing much today. If you're interested in self-defense law, I'm your guy.
Dr. Heinz, what's your next video going to be about?
I'm currently working on the docuseries in regards to Deb v. Heard. I'm almost finished with that one. I'm just finishing off the interviews with that. And I just gotta say I didn't I'm the only non-lawyer here. I thought I'd say that because there's a lot of lawyers here, and I'm just listening in, and I'm just like, wow, these guys really know what they're talking about, and I'm just here trying to soak it all in, really. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm working on. It's gonna get released next month, and I'm not doing any new videos, original videos, so to speak. Just live stream that I got coming up, and also if there's any updates in the Ari Jacob versus Taylor Lorenz case, I will do a video on that one. So that's pretty much what I'm pretty much doing on my channel, Dr. Heinz. I am, and also must say I'm not a real doctor either. Just putting it out there as well, because that came from Doofenshmirtz because of flipping what's his name, that crazy doc. That it was actually inspired by an actual crazy doctor. It was actually that testified for Amber Heard's team. He actually looked like
that guy. Yes,
yeah,
actually,
Dr. Spiegel.
Yeah, Spiegel.
Yes.
Yeah, he actually. I never thought that would become my name in the future. I was just joking around when I took it on board, but it just stuck from then on. But yeah,
That's literally.
That was amazing. Nate has muted himself. I don't know if he is around.
Yeah, I'm here. So.
Yeah.
I just muted myself so you can hear the background noise.
So you have been busy with with a certain lawsuit.
Oh yeah, I got my own lawsuit. I'm suing Chris Boozy, Bot Sentinel. But you know, my channel, to be honest with you, is just about me experimenting with the law and trying to explain stuff because I'm an explainer. I like to explain things. I like to get to the nitty gritty of things. And I like to investigate things. I've broken some cases here online. Fake. There was a woman who was claimed to have cancer, and then confessed that and had a fundraiser, and that happened to be a lie. A guy who stole like $20,000. Was it no $10 or $15,000 from a group of people claiming he was homeless, and I've come to find out he wasn't homeless. He was, just so. I've been doing some of that, some of this, and it's all fun. It's all fun. But at the end of the day, I'm a practicing attorney who loves making YouTube videos and educating the masses, hopefully. So if you like the type of stuff, just go to Google, type in Nate the Lawyer, and you're going to see something about me somewhere. Just click on it, and I'm there.
Boozy Bucks!
He's a millionaire by now.
Yeah. I have a video lined up that I've been pushing forward, and for you who don't know, I was a documents analyst in the European Parliament for a few years. So all I did was analyzing documents, reports, studies, and stuff like that. And I've been meaning to have a breakdown of Christopher Boozy's so-called research, because it is...
The
reason I keep, because it's not even analyzing documents 101. It's the drawing yourself picture before you go to school, kindergarten. It's that bad. And but I will do it in a near future where I pick his so-called research apart.
But you know the scariest part about it is that if you look at any of those, and I'll even say the most famous report, the Harry and Meghan report. That's the second report he ever did. If you just look at that report looks like it was done by a child, and the news media calls that an expert. That's the part that should scare everybody. Because these are the people who have the masses' ears and tell them this and saying this guy's an expert. When you look at that report, you automatically see not only is this guy not an expert, he don't know what the hell he's even talking about. So
I still can't get over his graphical presentation of the bots.
Oh yeah,
of the bots that the coordinated activity that was going on around.
That blob. What you
or his quote from Tug that like has a 6-hour gap in it. Like it was just like, well, and the best part is he's like, I've got the transcripts. You've got to check the transcripts. And I'm like, well, he seems pretty confident. Maybe Tug's out to lunch on this one, and then nope, it was so bad.
Yeah. And then he tried to change it, and it didn't improve.
It's
so
passed.
Bad. Yeah, and it's past 2 hours, so I can say it for Mr. Boozy. You can't unfuck a clusterfuck.
We've all met Boozies, right? In our lives, we've all met Boozies before. we know what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we have here? Too many Runkos will up the Scoville levels. Oh, well, one of my chili plants I had to replant. It is the spaghetti. It is roughly, it will be 5 feet high, and the chilies will be almost a foot long. Very, very thin. Yeah. So that will be interesting. And then I have Thai chili, habanero, but sadly, my But Orange Copenhagen is taking its time, but I also have Trinidad Scorpion out in the living room. That will take.
That's a power
delightful.
move.
That
chili
one's
peppers
evil.
in Sweden.
Yeah, that one's evil. Yeah, you can foot long chilies. Yeah, you can just Google it. Just chili spaghetti, and then you can see how they look by yourself. Don't buy it from Wish or any of those sites, because those are, you get crap seeds. Buy it from a good source. Yeah, yeah. 2 hours 40. What?
No, I just wanted to ask a quick question to Ronco, Nate, and Andrew. Have you guys seen Amber Heard's latest appeal docs that just been released? Yeah, apparently got like all the confidential information is now released, like their therapist notes, everything is now released. Have you seen that?
So I've seen it dribble out on Twitter, but it's not. So I only really do use of force self-defense cases, so I haven't been following it closely. I see little bits and pieces come out on Twitter, and it looks terrible for her, as one would expect from Amber Heard. But I wouldn't have a well-informed opinion of it.
Oh, okay.
I will wait. Andrea Burkhardt I believe have announced that she will do a video about it or a stream about it, so that will be interesting to watch.
And Andrea does great work. Andrea Burkhardt does great work, so I would recommend that.
And the real Laura B as well, I believe, will be on top of it.
Yeah, Laura B is really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incriminating. That's what I gotta say. It's like it's really bad. Really.
Well, can you give us the elevator version of it?
From what I've seen so far, one of the Whitney actually told Johnny that he should smack Amber Heard for because she pissed him off. So he's like, make sure you hit one for me. And Johnny was like, huh? And he's like, oh, just a little tap, not too hard. And then he's like, okay, maybe hard. And he's like, okay, then whatever. All right. And all of this communications was around 2014, 2015. So this was when they were in the height of the abuse. And of course, in the UK case, Whitney said that she was present for all the abuse and said that she witnessed some of him and was basically saying, yeah, he was doing all that. So if he was abusing her, why are you saying these things to him? Saying to, oh yeah, hit her more. It's just funny to see all of that in document form. Like,
so hold on. So Amber, so I'm clear with it. Amber Heard's sister,
yeah,
she texts Johnny Depp that Johnny needs to hit her.
Yep.
Hit Amber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like he was like, oh, I don't know where Amber is. She's at the studio, like at a photo shoot, and because she was mad at her, she was like, it's like, oh, I'm really pissed at her. Like, where is she? Where is that hag? Or like this and that. And I'm paraphrasing a lot, by the way, but that was basically the gist of it. And in this, it's like, yeah, make sure you hit her for me. I was like, I read it. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wasn't there that one set of therapist notes where like Amber didn't say anything, and then she came in later to be like, hey, remember all that stuff I told you before? And the therapist was going, no.
Yeah.
So
Amber's own therapist is basically giving
file.
depositions saying, oh no, this woman's I'm paraphrasing, of course, but my client, Amber Heard's a terrible liar and just makes shit up all the time. You can't believe anything she says.
Okay. Here is Dr. Heinz YouTube channel. He is under 1K, so let's get him above that threshold. Go subscribe to Dr. Heinz on YouTube at Dr. Heinz Official. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And congrats on your 1K too. If I haven't said it already, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get past a lot of ketchup commercials.
Yeah. I promise you have never heard that before.
It's actually funny. Someone actually called me Ketchup Man, and all I did was laugh at it, and everyone that followed me was like, "You should actually call yourself Ketchup Man, like a superhero."
No, you know what'd be cool? Dr. Ketchup. Dr. Ketchup. That's so unique. That's it. That's perfect. Like my name is Dr. Hines, but they call me Dr. Ketchup. Easy to remember YouTube channel. I'm going to steal that. That's good.
Yeah.
Dr. Ketchup in the library with the candlestick holder.
Yeah, and you got yourself. Dr. Heinz got himself a real fan club here in the chat.
No one Ketchup. What is happening?
Look at all those married women.
No,
Ladies.
Oh.
So, Dr. Hines, what's your OnlyFans?
Oh my! Oh God!
I think that's what they're looking for.
Why, you want to see red stuff that's splashed everywhere?
No, that's the Zachariah Anderson trial.
Oh Lord!
That was
OnlyFans coming soon. OnlyFans coming soon.
Hey, Courtney Clenny, that's where the money is, man. That's the Courtney Clenny, the OnlyFans model who killed her boyfriend. Yeah. That'll be the next big self-defense. I gotta put scare quotes around it.
She should call Amber Heard, because she has experience in throwing things that causes things to, yeah. She could
and talk about, we talked earlier about not talking to the police. Courtney Clenny buried herself by talking to the police, by doing exactly that, just having a lengthy conversation with the police after being given her rights, being Mirandized by the police. She's like, "Sure, I'm happy to talk to you for a couple hours." She's put herself in prison for the rest of her life.
All of them do that. Every criminal defendant, they love to talk. McDowell, he was the former prosecutor, right? He was Mr. Law Enforcement. He talked. Let's have a conversation with the police. For some reason, people just want to convince law enforcement or the authority figure that they didn't have anything to do. You don't look at me anymore. Look somewhere else. And in that need to try to convince the officer that you didn't do it is when you give up the information. You don't know how many times you can tell people, "Listen, shut up. We don't want to hear no more," and they continue to talk. It's a tried true tactic. Matter of fact, it works so much that people start confessing the crimes even before you even ask them any questions. Okay, listen, I know why you got me. I know I shouldn't have did that. It's so easy.
One of the worst in the sense of, for me as a defense lawyer. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, I had a terrible. So this officer, he was so effective, and it was terrible for me as a defense lawyer, because he sits down with this guy who's accused of a bunch of serious crimes, and he basically goes, "Hey, they've said I got to feed you." So he plunks down a bag of McDonald's for the guy, and he sits there with his own bag. He's eating, and he says, "Yeah, they want me to watch you to make sure you don't do anything with the food. Like sometimes people throw it at the ceiling or whatever." He's like, "But honestly, you're such a scumbag. I don't want to talk to you. So just shut up and eat." And the guy's sitting there and, sort of picking at his burger, and he goes, "Well, but," and the officer's like, "No, I don't want to hear from you. Like, just shut up." And he tells this guy to shut up like 5-6 times until this guy's like, no, but I'm. And so he's like, "Well, fine. Here's, let me read you your rights if you're going to talk. But I really don't want to talk to you. You should shut up." and this guy just spills everything. And I'm sitting there trying to argue that this isn't a voluntary statement. It's like, nope, that's not going to go.
Yeah. Now, the psychology works, man. A very, very good friend of mine was an interrogator down in Guantanamo when right after 9/11, when all these terrorists were being brought in. And I said, so what was your most effective interrogation technique? Was it waterboarding? And he's like, I never waterboarded anybody. My most effective interrogation technique was Coca-Cola. Because he would just build a rapport with them. A can of Coca-Cola would get him all the information, all the intelligence he wanted.
You know, it's funny because a lot of people don't realize that those, like when you watch James Bond and they got, probes to his balls and everything, if speak or, you're going to be shocked to death. People think that's not effective because it's not about getting information. People will talk, but you want good information. You want people to give you correct information. That's the thing. People, if you force somebody to say something, they will give you information and make it sound convincing. That's not the game. The game is to get the correct information, and that's what rapport building.
Well, for intelligence, that's what you want. For a criminal conviction, listen, plenty of cops, if they get a confession, they'll take it and run.
Yeah, but I'm saying you want the truth, right? Not. I'm talking about in the ideal world. You want the truth, and that's what you're trying to get from the person. You're not trying to get a story. You're trying to get the truth.
I think it was Mad Dog Mattis who was saying that he got a lot further with a couple of beers and a pack of cigarettes than with anything else for interrogations.
Oh, well, I don't do interrogation. I do negotiations, and the most effective thing is the awkward pause when they say something, and you just. And
even just cross-examination, sometimes that's a very effective tactic. As somebody answers a question, you just sit there and stare at them, and then they just keep talking, and sometimes that buries them.
Well, here it's midnight where I am.
All right.
And I've been working all weekend. I've been inspecting a factory who may or may not have had every safety protocols in check. And so tomorrow is supposed to be my day off. So they will definitely call me first thing in the morning. So let's just.
All right, Nicholas. Hey, congratulations. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate it. Keep working, man. Consistency is the key. Consistency in terms of production of content. That's what the algorithm loves. All YouTube cares about is getting people to watch videos. And if you're producing content and people are showing up to watch videos, they love you. And that's how they promulgate your content more, get more people to watch your stuff. If you do stuff intermittently, there's nothing morally wrong with that, but YouTube doesn't like it. So consistency, keep at it, show up, do it all the time, and I expect you'll have great, even greater levels of success moving forward.
Thank you. And
hey, folks, I'm going to say good night. Good night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Good night, Andrew. Good night, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm out of here too, guys. And due to everything he said, but I also want to make one thing clear: quality over quantity. I think you'd rather put out, because I had to learn that the hard way. I started putting out. I was like, oh, it's just about me putting out videos. But then when I sat down and actually did a video that I wanted to do and did the research and didn't cut the corners, it was sky's the limit. Those were some of my biggest videos. So even though it's good to be consistent, but quality matters, and it matters a lot.
I will say, Nate, your videos has really improved. Like from when I started watching, the U.S. Federation coverage that you did. Yeah. When I started watching from there to now, it has the quality has upped. So yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. I'm trying. I try to do that, but I also, like, back then though. It was that research, because that's what people really like. They like that little extra nugget that we give them. Ronku gives it to him, right? He goes and reads the damn 6-hour thing to find that one sentence that doesn't make sense. He goes on stream and say, "I read this shit.
Absolutely.
Here it is." Right? This is 6 hours apart. You know
He
why?
dared me to-
All the transcripts.
I'm still surprised you did that.
Dared me to do it. He was like, "Hey," I actually was starting. I was wondering if I was going to have to make a video going, like Tug is full of crap going, because Boozy was so confident about like, I have the transcripts, they're publicly available. He just never expected that anybody would actually check his work.
But Boozy is an honest Harry's used car sales lot. Is this car in perfect order? Yes, with confidence.
He probably sold you that tractor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe. That's the most expensive license plate I've ever bought.
Listen, you guys be well. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you. Yeah, I have to prepare for tomorrow, even though I'm having a day off. So I have to say thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you for inviting.
Entertaining me, entertaining the chat, entertaining in all. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'll sign off here, and have a good one.
Bye, Uncle.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Didn't expect
No worries.
this. What a night. Did not expect this at all. Did not expect that at all.
No. I follow you on Twitter, and we have spoken a bit on Twitter, and I've seen a few of your videos, and I think you're doing a great job.
You actually,
so why not?
That still surprises me, because when I read up on these cases and try to connect it, I feel like because I don't have the legal knowledge or the practicality, like being in an actual courtroom to see it play out, I feel like I'm I shouldn't speak at all. But it means a lot coming from a lawyer, like, that it makes sense.
Yeah, but you have a point of view that makes sense. And I think that is what people both want and need to hear. And so keep doing what you're doing. And we'll try to have your subscriber count up as well. I will try to invite you if I make this live stream on a regular basis. If I'm having a subject that I know I could use your input.
Yeah, 100%. Like whenever you're doing a stream, definitely invite me. I know I'm looking a lot more into civil litigation a lot more. But I am, out of personal preference, I am looking into the Courtney Clinic case, and I am actually reading. Like, I've actually bought books on tort law and criminal law. I've actually bought books, and I'm actually reading it because I can't afford to go to law school just yet. I'm still working, and the student loan situation is a bit funny. But for the quality of my content, I really got to know the mechanics around it. So I'm just like, right, I can still buy the book. So let me just buy it. Let me just buy it and learn the bare bones, But anyway, definitely, whenever you do a stream, I'm available.
Okay. I'll make sure to send you an invite next time too.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day, yeah? Thank you so
have
much
a nice
for
day.
having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congrats on your 1,000.
Thank you so much. So I had a question here. My mic is Logi HD 1080p webcam with an internal microphone. That is what I have. This one, who doesn't fit into the computer, who my computer don't want to speak to, is Nikabe M2. I am not sponsored, and if I would take sponsorship, it would be for a lot more than the cost of that mic. The other mic, that's the Nikabe M2. Can I say a few sentences in Swedish? Självklart. Vet inte riktigt vad ni vill att jag säger, men ja, det här är jag. Jag är en vad ska man kalla det för? Jag har varit i facket i över 30 år. Jag har varit ordförande lokalt. Jag har varit förhandlare lokalt, regionalt och nationellt. Jag har arbetat i Sverige, Tyskland och Danmark. Och några år i Europaparlamentet som analyserar dokument. Do I live north? No, I live in south of Sweden, but I was raised in Värmland, in the woods near the lakes. We are more or less the equivalent of Appalachians hillbillies up there. And my dialect is Värmländska. My dialect is very toned down for reasons. But when I get back, which I will in this summer, and I will probably do that's in August, I will do a road trip video when I go up to the family cottage in the north of Värmland. So you can see that as well. And then you will hear my actual accent. And that's a hoot. All the non-Swedish speakers heard it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah. The light brand. And it was everything in I believe it was 45 or 50 bucks. Thanks, these questions are harder to ask once you are too big to have just a few people in chat and when you don't want to feel sentences. Okay, thank you. No worries. People mistake me to be from Småland because I have speech impairment. That reminds me of a joke. It's a cartoon with a guy in a mental asylum saying, "Let me out of here. I'm not crazy. I'm from Skåne." Well, thank you all for my 1,000 subscriber celebration. 3 hours and 8 minutes. I hope you liked it. I hope you will come back to my videos, to next stream whenever that occurs. Hopefully I will get to my 4,000 watch hours. And if I do that before the beginning of May and get monetized before the beginning of May, I will have a birthday stream for you. Okay. That's it for me. You all have a nice day. I'll talk to you later.